fourth meeting. Invocation will be, I'll do the invocation. We'll have a pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Wilson, and then we'll have the roll call. Please stand. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for letting us be here tonight to go through our city functions as we're supposed to do and look out for our citizens as we're going through our daily our daily duties, watching out over them as we have this COVID-19 and anything else that goes along with making our life a little less stressful and less safety. We won't ask for you to look over us as we go about this daily duty. We want to thank all the first responders that work for all the citizens of the country and let them know that we're all thinking of them and praying for them at this time. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Brinson?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
All right, presentations and proclamations. Presentation on Small World Solutions, Culture, Competency, and Diversity, inclusion by Mr. Arnold Smalley.
You give it a second, someone will walk out from the back row.
It all went down? Mine went down as well. I'm trying to restart my computer.
Ready? Hello, my name is Arnold Smalley. I'm the CEO for Small World Solutions. In 2017, I retired from the Department of Justice as a government special agent after serving 25 years as a government special agent, where I specialize in the reduction of violent crime all across America. In 2018, we started Small World Solutions. Small World Solutions is a consulting firm that provides interactive trainings to improve the workplace environment. We now specialize in the reduction of violent crime. We specialize now in the reduction of stress and conflict. We help companies improve and increase their productivity and increase their team cohesion and boost their employee morale. At Small World Solutions, our workshops are a la carte. We customize according to our client needs. Our most popular courses are listed: cultural competency, diversity and inclusion, conflict resolution, human behavior styles, and many more. We offer half-day workshops, full-day workshops, and a series of workshops. Also one-on-one executive coaching. Our most popular workshop is diversity and inclusion, and this is called a lifelong journey to building your cultural competence. Why diversity and inclusion, you ask? Let me give you some statistics. Organizations with above average gender diversity and levels of engagement outperform companies with below average diversity and engagement by 46 to 58%. If you look at Apple, they're the #1 listed company on the Fortune list. How do they handle diversity? 29% of their upper management is women. Also, compared to all of their competitors, they have twice as many minorities in the upper management positions. Apple has realized that the respect, the innovation, and the profitability from a diverse and inclusive workforce. So if I were to ask 10 people their definition of diversity, I would probably get 10 different answers. And most of those answers would include the word different in their definition. But luckily for us, the word diversity, if you take every letter in the word diversity, it spells out its own definition. Different individuals valuing everyone, regardless of their skin or their sex, their ideology, their talents, or their years. Simply, let's just use the root word, diverse. No, I'm sorry. Let's use the root word for diverse, which is dive. Different individuals valuing everyone, period. All right, as I learned from a great mentor, Dr. Derek Greenfield, our workshops will help you understand that diversity is like counting heads, and that's a good start. But inclusion is making sure that every head counts, and that's a great finish. Becoming culturally competent, you learn your own biases. Example, if you were to board an airplane and you were the first one to board and you got a window seat, are you now looking at every passenger as they walk by saying, I hope he or she does not sit by me because fill in the blanks? Well, like I said, I know I'm not the only one. Bruce Dexter has stated, judging a person doesn't define who they are, it defines who you are. Because half the exercise I get every day is from jumping to conclusions. I can't get this to move forward.
It won't move? There's no. You get somebody. Take your time, we'll give you some.
Okay.
Might be the weather outside, I don't know.
Oh, there it goes.
All right.
Okay. All right, where was I here? Jumping to conclusions, all right. Reality is judging a person does not define who they are, it defines who you are. Our goal of our workshops is to show that culturally competent doesn't mean that you're going to be an expert in every culture. That's nearly impossible. What it means is that you're going to show respect for those that are different than you, and you're going to learn there's differences. Or you're just willing to accept that there's different ways for people to get to this thing we call life. It's stuck again. In your handouts, I did give you handouts. We can just go from there, I guess. So the next slide would be, and I'm almost finished here. The evolving world. Individuals today, they face a challenge of dealing with citizens from many cultures who speak different languages, have different diverse educational backgrounds, experiences, levels of acculturation, socioeconomic statuses, and unique ways of processing information. Small World Solutions can help you lead in this ever-changing and diverse landscape. This has been a brief presentation from Small World Solutions. With only a 20-minute phone call or virtual meeting or personal meeting, we can show you how to increase your productivity, increase your team cohesion, and boost your employee morale, all while reducing your stress and reducing your conflict. Let Small World be your solution to all your training needs. Call our office at 754-971-7007, or visit our website at www.smallworldsolutions.net. Please follow us and like us on Facebook and LinkedIn. Thank you for the opportunity and time to present today.
You need a little more time, you can have it, you wanna just make any more comments? I'm sorry about the thing not working, right?
Well, I can take, in the back of the booklet, there's also testimonials, but I can take questions or
What I hope is you get the chance to set up a time to go see the city manager and go through this, and I think he'll be the one that, he can go through the process and see if we need to do this and we should do it or whatever. Give you a chance to go fully through the explanations with him and the staff, and then, I don't know what the cost is, but he can handle up to a certain amount anyway, right? Rob?
Yeah.
yeah, we work with several
Yeah, Mayor, we typically have money in the human resources budget for certain types of training similar to this, which we do sometimes every other year, sometimes every third year, but not knowing exactly what we're going to do. There's usually some funds in training budget and human resources.
Then we can have, maybe come back again after he gets through, you and him, you and staff get together and go through it, then we can come back and go see what we want to do.
That'll be perfect.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Have you presented this presentation to different municipalities in the state of Florida?
Yes, in the state of Florida, we originated from South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. Actually, I was working with another company called, I don't want to advertise for them. I was working with another company. We had the city of Fort Lauderdale, North Miami Beach, Sunrise Municipality, Doral Municipality, and North Miami Beach. I think I said that one. So we've done many municipalities as well.
What's your most popular workshop and how long does it take?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry, what's the most popular workshop and how long does it take?
Well, all right, basically it's like this. Like when I put up the slide for our most popular courses, which is cultural competency and diversity, it's a la carte. So some people, it depends on how, like when I use the definition of dive, different individuals valuing everyone, it's how deep do you want to dive? Like cultural competency alone, it can be a 2-day course, 2 8-hour-day course. And so we could start with building your levels of acculturation to multiculturational levels. And there's like, and David Hoops gives you 7 steps of where you're at during that line. So we go through all those 7 steps. So like I said, cultural competency in itself, it could be a 2-day workshop if that's what you're looking for. Most people include diversity and inclusion with their cultural competency. So we do a little bit of, we hit them with the getting to know each other a little bit better. And then we go from there into personal biases, and to show that everybody has personal biases, and then how to deal with those.
If you guys, if you're doing different municipalities, who's actually taking advantage of these workshops? Is it city workers? Is it the police department? Is it
Let me explain how we did it.
leadership
Let me explain how we did it with the city of Fort Lauderdale. City of Fort Lauderdale, every city employee that is employed by the city of Fort Lauderdale had to come through our course. What we did was we set up 6 days during the month, and it would always be during the birthday month that everybody would come during their birthday month. So let's say, for instance, if your birthday was in August, we'd have 6 days set on the calendar, and you'd have to show up to one of those 6 days. So sometimes our classes would be anywhere from 15 people all the way up to 35 people, depending on which days the employees chose. The last days of the month were always crowded because everybody tried to get in and get their month in, their yearly training. But for them, what we did was we did cultural competency, diversity, we did prevention of sexual harassment, prevention of workplace violence, customer service, and basically courses like that. And you'll see that on the front page of my handout. It has a list of a lot of other courses that we also train on.
It could be everybody. It could be all the city.
Yes, we did. But one of the things we did was we had special classes for the firefighters and police, your first responders, your firefighters, and your police, because we added something for them, and which I personally specialize in, is verbal judo, which is communicating on a level that brings community and police, bridges that gap so that everybody can speak with respect towards each other.
Okay. I think that after you talked to Rob and he said, get set up, we can see what we want to do.
Okay.
I think it'd be for every department, you know, probably sounds to me like just let him.
And I'm sorry about the technical
That's okay.
difficulties.
That's all right. Might be the weather. took me our equipment.
Thank you for coming in.
We'll let him set up a time with Rob and come
Okay.
meet with him, and then he can bring it back to us, and we have to vote on it. I don't know, we have to vote on it or whatever, then we can get busy with it.
Okay. All right, thank you guys for the
Thank you.
opportunity to speak.
Thank you. You come from South Florida today?
No, I recently moved here to the Apopka area.
Oh, okay.
I live in Apopka. I brought my business to Clarkona, Ocoee,
Okay,
on that road.
you're close.
I've only been here for about a year and a half now.
Okay, all right, appreciate it very much.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, staff reports. First,
Thank-
did we? I need to read this first part here on the very important thing. All interested parties are invited to be heard during the public comments and public hearing portion of the meeting. City Hall is closed to the public and is subject to change based on the governor's executive order. This meeting is broadcast live on Spectrum Channel 493 with a live stream at www.ocoee.org, 197 Ocoee TV. Interested parties invited to offer comments and/or questions by emailing citizens@ocoee.org or calling 407-554-7118 or by registering in advance by emailing citizens@ocoee.org or calling 407-905-3105, and city staff will call you during the live meeting. All right, staff reports.
Yeah, Mayor, the only thing I had this evening, the last couple of commission meetings, and I think even back a few months ago, we've had some question. I think there's some general agreement amongst the city commission that we didn't really want to have the address on the speaker reservation form. So I asked the city clerk to go ahead and put together a couple different examples for y'all of information that you would like to see on that form. Thinking perhaps we can put this this issue to bed for now, if we all agree on something that we can use in the future. And one of my concerns also on this was there are certain categories of residents or business owners who might come in here that we really don't want their address information. We don't want to be handling that because it's illegal for us to disseminate it. So if anybody came in and requested copies of some of these speaker forms, it'd be a lot of work for us to go and redact a lot of that information. So our recommendation is you do go ahead and pick one of these, or modify one of these examples in front of you to remove the address requirement and maybe retain some of the other information you would like to have.
You want us to go over that now?
You can go over it now. You can talk about it at the end of the meeting, or if you want to look at those and take them home and make a recommendation at the next meeting. It's, if y'all, it's what your consensus is. We just, it's come up several times and we agree it's not something we really want to have on there because of the legal requirements that we don't want to slip and release an address that we're legally not supposed to. So if you could help us out, and I think we could solve two problems here with.
This is something that we can discuss tonight.
Absolutely.
It's just three forms, and they all look almost the same, with the absence of some pertinent information like the address. There's three different forms here. The first one basically lines up with basically what you said. We don't want to deal with addresses, so you have all the pertinent information from the original form minus the address. The second form looks almost identical, except for the address is optional. And finally, the third form says, what, are you a Ocoee resident? Yes or no? Those are the only, that's just three basic forms, all look the same, with minor changes to each one. So again, I like the first one because it goes along with what we talked about months ago, just remove the address, we keep all the information, and we keep moving.
Mr. Wilson?
Okay, I know that when we discussed this, we decided that we would not have the person read their address, speak their address at the microphone. That was what we came up with when this all started, probably a couple of years ago.
I think the issue there is
It's evolved.
sending that out. I mean, we stream that and we have copies, taped copies and that type of thing too. So we could unwittingly or unknowingly be releasing addresses that it's illegal for us to
Well,
release
I
to.
don't mind adding the optional on the
Yeah.
address in the second form. If they want to put it down, they can. If they're not, If they don't want it released and knowing it could go on public record, they don't put it
And I
down.
think that option was included because if you're not required to release your address, I think you're very well aware of that, or if there's a reason that you don't want to, then there's certain times you might want to. If you're talking about a local issue that's in your subdivision or something like that, you might want your address on there, so.
And the other aspect is a Ocoee resident. I think it's important for us to know if it's an Ocoee resident. We're representing them, and it may be issues that are affecting.
And keep in mind, you can pick and choose, and you can
Yeah.
add something from
They're-
one form to the next if you
They are
want.
taxpayers, and some issues are affecting our taxpayers, which most of them are, and they may want us to know that they are a Ocoee resident, especially when something's being discussed
Okay.
with them regarding
The
their
option-
neighborhoods.
option.
So I kind of like the optional and the Ocoee resident.
I do too. I like that one too. Commissioner Brinson?
Yep, I agree. The Ocoee resident is fine and without the address, or the optional address.
All right,
That's fine.
thank you. Commissioner Forster?
Yep, I like number 3, where we know if they're a resident or not. And the second one is all right too, that gives them the option of putting the address down if they want to.
All right. Looks like we have a consent. Do we need to vote on it, or just?
Consensus, I think, is fine.
Can I just add one
Consensus.
thing? Do we want to put something on there that, under their address, that it is public record? So they understand that it can go out?
Option, yeah, where it
With
says
optional
option.
where this could be a public record,
The typical statement that,
Typical-
yeah,
that they- so
that
they
this,
know.
this could be a public record and just,
Yeah.
you're so advised. All right, as long as the city clerk is, she's the one who came up with these, so as long as she understands exactly what you want, I think we're set to move ahead then.
All right,
That was all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
so consensus is we go with the option of the address with the public statement that it could be a public record. All right,
And the Ocoee resident checkbox.
Ocoee resident, yes. All right. Is that all, staff? All right. Commissioners' announcements. Commissioner Forster,
Not this time.
Commissioner Wilson,
nothing at this time, thank you.
Commissioner Branson,
None at this time.
Commissioner Oliver.
Nothing at this time.
All right. Consent agenda. Hold on a minute. We got a couple of things here, public announcement. All interested parties, let's see, we already read that part. The first budget workshop is next week, Wednesday, August the 12th, starting at 6 p.m. and will be broadcast live on Spectrum, Channel 493, with a live stream on the city's website at ocoee.org. All right, consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Whistler.
I
Here's a
have an
second.
item I need to remove from the consent agenda.
Let me get a second first, and then we'll.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Forster. All right, now we need a discussion. What'd you ask?
I need to pull consent agenda item number 4.
All right. Do I hear a motion for the 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7?
Can I amend my motion to approve the consent agenda and removing item 4 for discussion?
Everything except 4.
4.
Everything's okay.
All right, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Brinson. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Like size, no motion carries. All right. Number 4, Commissioner Oliver.
Mike, you want to talk about that?
This item is the improvements that were made, public roads, public stormwater ponds, utilities, which utilities are in Orange County, so this would be the public, not the public roads, the roads and the stormwater, the infrastructure of the phase of Arden Park. This is a surety to 2 years to make sure that the infrastructure stands up, and we'll do an inspection in 2 years. This is a bond to cover a portion of the cost if the developer were unable to make some improvements or fix any issues, then the city could use this bond proceeds to do some of that infrastructure improvement.
This is an item, again, that is a Lennar Homes item for their Phase 4A. And one of the issues I have with this is because Lennar that still have some issues, lots of issues. I get 2 to 3 calls a day about Lennar Homes. I understand what this item is. I understand exactly what this item is. It has nothing to do with construction. I understand that. But here we go. But here we go. Once again, here's our third opportunity to send a message to Lennar to say, you have unfinished business with current residents out of phase 2, 3, and part 4. And again, it is something that they've been dealing with for some time now. And I have a hard time rubber stamping this stuff when we have residents out there that are in turmoil because of Lennar Homes. You have residents that have been in Ocoee all their lives, and they grew up here, and they decide to build their home and their families here. And they're telling me they want to leave. Well, I take that personal. I take that very personal, that they want to leave the city that they grew up in. It seems to be, wants to turn their back on them. I think that we have a duty and an obligation to all the citizens. And I think we have a duty and obligation to engage Lennar in some type of diplomacy where they can go back and address issues with residents. And I say residents as in plural. There's a plethora of emails that I have concerning Lennar Homes and the shoddy work that they're doing, but yet still they're continuing to move on and build, and we're continuing to stamp. So my issue is with approving this thing, I have no problem with approving as long as Lennar would actually go back and start taking care of those residents, the people that they made promises to that they have not followed through with, and then only I'm able to start approving Lennar Home stuff. Right now, I have no confidence in Lennar going back to fix anything in those residents. Again, this is my district, but again, you may end up in your own district, and you may end up with a nightmare that I've been dealing with. And we just have an obligation to those residents to say, hey, we may not be able to stop this totally, but at least say, hey, wait a minute, we're going to hold off on this until you can come to us in good faith and say that, you know, we fixed this, and this, and we can move on from that. That's all I have on that.
Anybody else?
Well, have we sent Lennar a letter, or from the, I don't know if Attorney Cookson, did we reach out to them in some way, shape, or form, addressing previous issues?
We did. We have had some correspondence with them. We set up a phone call. I know, I believe Mike has been involved in some of those discussions with Lennar. Commissioner has been involved in some of those discussions. So there has been some effort to contact Lennar. Honestly, I don't know where that stands now. Commissioner or Mike could probably give me a better idea.
Yeah, this is a tough one, because I thought it was moving forward based on our previous discussions regarding Lennar and Arden Park. But it sounds like we're still fighting that battle with some of the homeowners / the home builder. And can we get an update? What's the update on?
Commissioner, I know, so there's been issues raised that are site-related, HOA related, and material, maybe workmanship of within the walls of the single-family home. I'm aware of only one outstanding issue of a site-related, which is a particular couple of lots, a rear yard drain that we're working on. All other issues be passed. The issues that were brought up before, where we had the meeting, at the best of my knowledge, I haven't heard any new complaints. So if they're HOA related, obviously that's not under our purview. Workmanship is something under the building inspection. We can see trends and really try to pinpoint that.
Right. And of course, Director, you know that, I have a couple of owners in my community that are facing some challenges. And it's really is a home builder / home owner issue, but the city has to get involved because of the nature of what we do here at the city. So I understand where Commissioner Oliver is coming from, because we have a similar issue that I'm dealing with as well, with 3 now. I haven't gotten back with you, but there's now 3 homes, because every time it rains, their property floods a little bit. But I know this issue is not related to that. So
This issue.
I don't know what other message we can send to Lennar.
Right, this issue is related to roads and stormwater ponds. It would not,
Right.
this item doesn't touch the single-family home or the
Right.
HOA. Yeah, certainly, willing to go to bat and keep going to bat, working for the overall good. And yes, we want to keep development and developers in the city know that there is a standard. Yes.
Okay, that's all I have, thank you.
All right, anybody else? If not, I need a motion for 4.
I would like to make a motion that we hold off on item 4. Let's pull item 4 and give Lennar an opportunity to come meet with us to talk about at least getting some of these things taken care of, so they can bring it back and we can continue, we can move forward with their building.
All right, commissioners, any more comments? So
Well,
here's a second.
well, can I ask a question here? Commissioner Oliver, how many issues do you see as outstanding with Lennar? Because I don't want to hold them up because this is not related. However, I understand your position.
Well, let me give you a perfect example. I have one resident whose home was built almost a year ago, and the floor is not tacked down to the frame. It's teeter-tottering, and Lennar has yet to come and fix it, even though they promised it. And then when their warranty is up after 1 year, they have come back to other residents saying, hey, your warranty's up, so we can't take care of that. But I believe you're talking about anywhere between 8 and 12 residents that are having some real hard times. Other residents that's having problems it can be worked out at another time, as long as we can hold their feet to the fire to say, hey, you got to do something. You can't sit back and do nothing at this point. You have to do something. Show us something in good faith.
You have a comment on that, City Attorney?
Yeah, I guess, I understand the issue that, and I think you understand this has nothing to do with that issue, and the city has an interest in holding all developers and home builders to some kind of standard, but at the same time, this is an issue between a home builder and their customer. We're not the judge and jury. We're not, at least in my opinion, it's not the city commission's role to mediate, moderate, or make some kind of, decision in that dispute between the resident and their home builder. Certainly, we can facilitate a meeting if you want to meet with Lennar, and have the residents there as part of that to help kind of facilitate it. But I do have some concern about holding up something that's completely unrelated, just because they haven't addressed something with their own homeowner.
Yeah, we do have obligations for inspection, passing these inspections. Like against how do you get a floor in a home that's not tethered down to the frame? Somebody passed that, so we do have obligations. We have obligations, and I think that again, I don't understand again. One has nothing to do with the other for what we're talking about tonight, but we still have an obligation to our citizens to say, hey, come to us in good faith, do something, fix some of these things. And I don't see this being held up for too long, because again, Lennar is big enough to go in and to fix 6 problems in one day. They're a huge developer. We have this huge bully that ends up in our back door and they're bullying us around, and we're sitting back saying, hey, what you gonna do? We're cowering to these guys, and we need to stand up and say, we can't do this. We can't allow our citizens to be susceptible to this type of behavior.
I would just want to be careful, and I understand, yes, is opening it up for the number of issues. I mean, we need a list, or we need something that's achievable, because we saw in that meeting, they'll all have something, and we just can't have a list of 45.
A good list. I can get you a good list.
I have a question. I understand where your residents are, okay, I do understand that. But then I'm gonna ask for legally speaking, there are two different issues. Are we able to hold that up, the surety bond, for the reasons that Commissioner Brinson is reporting to us, that you said in an earlier meeting, they were civil matters. They were between Lennar and the residents and the homeowners, not between the city and Lennar. Because you've mentioned that, if I'm correct, Scott, in the past.
Yes.
Okay, so
Commissioner,
I'm
this is,
seeking legal advice at this point. Are we able to hold up is it surety bond
I
Yeah.
don't-
because of those
yeah,
reasons?
I don't think we could legally deny approval of this item based on something unrelated to this. That's not to say we couldn't delay, we couldn't put it off to the next meeting to give an opportunity to meet with them, to see if we can resolve concerns. But I would be very leery about a denial of a surety bond based on something completely unrelated.
So what do you, okay,
Right.
tell us, yes or no, you hold it back or you don't? What's the legal opinion here?
The legal opinion is, I think you would be okay to put this off to another agenda if you wanted time to talk with the developer. But legally, I don't think we could deny approval of this item based on something unrelated.
Because I don't think we have ever done that. At least in my time here, I don't think we've ever denied anyone
right,
this.
and this is a process within our land development code, so it's not ordinance-based. It's in order to receive a certificate of completion for the site work for Phase 4A. They have to get the full inspection cleared, checked off on the road, on the infrastructure, and then provide this form of surety. So we're accepting this form of surety. With respect to the existing houses, they don't touch Phase 4A right now, but as the city attorney said, denying it would put you in potentially some legal muddy waters, but continuing it, kind of holding it up is certainly, it's just part of the city's process.
So none of these houses that Commissioner Brinson's referring to are in Phase 4A?
Commissioner Oliver.
Correct,
I'm sorry.
correct.
No, I'm
They're
sorry,
in
Commissioner Oliver,
phases
I'm
2
pointing
through,
this way, and
yeah, phases 2 through 3B.
none of them are in,
4A hasn't been constructed yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This triggers their ability to construct 4A.
so why would we not pursue it if it's not even related to the issues that Commissioner Oliver's been talking about? That's what I'm trying to get,
Probably because we've been kicking this can down the road for far too long, and we have to be able to say, okay, I'm not asking to disapprove this item. I'm only asking that we get their attention to sit down at the table and say, here is a list of items for residents that you have promised to fix some things, and you have defaulted on your promises. And again, the next meeting, we continue to move on if they come to us in good faith.
All right, did you second the motion a while ago? Nobody seconded it?
No one seconded it.
Nobody, you didn't second it, did you? The one he made on this item 4, not, all right, that motion dies for lack of second. Do I have a motion to go ahead and approve item 4? If you want to put it forward, you gotta make a motion.
okay, I'll make a motion. I think that if we could suspend this one item for maximum of one meeting, you're saying that we can do that?
So bring it back at the next
Bring it back to the
meeting?
next meeting, and allowing the chance for Commissioner Oliver to work with Lennar Homes? I have a, I know, sorry.
I thought this didn't have anything to do with the
See,
two
that's where
items.
that's where I'm having a lot of problems with, I'm sorry. I'm making the motion to approve it because it is not related to the issues that,
Do I hear a
You
second?
could still make a motion to approve it with direction to city staff to reach out to Lennar to see
Yeah.
if these issues can be resolved.
I couldn't have said it better, thank you.
And we've actually done that in the past,
Do I hear a
with the
second?
consent agenda. And with that being said, again, they took the letter, looked at it, and never responded back to it. But this way, they'll at least get their attention and say, we really need to address some of these issues. The first time, we did the exact same thing. We approved it, sent the letter out, and no response. And now here we are again, the third time.
All right, that's same stuff. Do I hear a second? All right, hold on a minute. I'll second it. I'll second it, the motion.
Okay,
All right.
motion has been made and seconded by Mayor Johnson. Let's vote.
All in favor, say
All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1.
And can you, follow through on the other stuff with it, about
Please.
other questions we asked about it, see? All right, now
Can I
we
ask
go
you a
to,
question relating to that one? Do you mind? Just one question? How did they not be able to tack down the floors? How did it get past the building? I'm just
probably didn't put
questioning.
enough, probably didn't put enough.
I mean, how it didn't, okay.
The question would be, how did we approve it? How did we approve it months ago, and it's still the same issue? That's the question.
As part of the building permit inspection process, when we inspect, say, a shingled roof, they pull back some of the shingles and show the nailing pattern.
Okay.
You don't watch every nail that goes in every shingle. It's the same way you have inspections, you look at threshold, you look at the exterior walls, you look at how it's being done generally in the house. You don't there's hundreds of inspections, so. But as the issues come forward, as they do from time to time, that is something now we tell them, you're gonna have to do a back-to-back inspection, and we'll try to really enforce that inspection and look at it.
All right, thank you. What I want to do is, I want to, if it's okay with guys, I want to move item 12 up to now. We held them back last time at the last meeting, and they didn't get to the last part. So what I want to do is move item 12 up. Right past first reading of ordinances, item 12. All right, who's going to be City Attorney Cookson?
Yeah, I think I'm doing this. So you may recall a couple of months ago, the City Commission authorized staff to issue an RFP, request for proposals on 2 pieces of property in the city. The first was a 16-acre across the street from Ocoee High School. That was anticipated to be a residential piece. And the second piece of property is a commercial piece not too far from that on Ocoee Popka Road. So we went out and we had appraisals done on each of the properties. For the residential piece, the appraised value was $2,910,000. And on the commercial piece, the appraisal came back at $3,560,000. The responses with the RFP came in on the residential piece. The highest offer was $2 million, which is close to $1 million less than the appraised value. And on the commercial piece, we received an offer from one of the applicants for the appraised amount of $3,560,000. So at this point, city staff is looking to the City Commission for direction on how we move forward with this. Staff feels that the offers on the residential piece being close to $1 million lower than the appraised value might be beneficial to wait on that one. And on the commercial one, I believe there's an applicant here that had the highest bid that meets the appraised value. And staff's looking for direction from city staff or from City Commission to move forward with this developer or get whatever input you have on these 2 items.
All right, staff, any comments? That's the bids we put out, the appraisals we put out for the property, right?
Yes.
That was pretty good a price, 5 or 6?
3.56.
18 acres, 17 acres? Okay,
I'll just be very brief here. Thank you, Mayor. We are familiar with the company that placed the highest bid on the commercial tract. They are here, and I believe they wish to speak. We have developed a comfort level with what they're able to do. So, if the commission directs us to, we feel very comfortable moving forward with them on this. It did, you all are very well aware that we rarely get an offer at appraised value. So that's definitely something to consider, and I think they have a few things they want to share with the commission. They're actually looking at a lot of other projects in the city, so I don't believe that they would be a one-off developer and try to just turn a deal and then get out of town. I think they are planning to try and do several things here in Ocoee. So the representatives, if you would like to come forward at this time, the mayor, if you would recognize them. Oh,
We need to open the public here. Scott?
No,
Yep.
you want-
Yeah, back there, yeah. Scott?
Yeah, not a public.
No,
hearing.
just let, okay.
Good evening, Mayor,
Good evening.
City Commissioners. It's, GPK Holdings is the company that is attempting to buy the commercial parcel and developed a mixed-use commercial project there, probably some flex office, some retail. It's a corner with a light, so it's sort of an automatic for that type of property. And according to the previous PUD you have, those uses are approved. So we're not asking for anything outside of what's already been approved. Also, we're involved in some of the downtown district, attempting to take on some of the redevelopment of the brownfield areas and some of the other properties we're pursuing now in the city. So we're really anchored in for some vertical construction, and the developer will own this forever. He probably will never sell. So whatever's constructed there that he builds, he'll own and rent, and he'll be an investing community as long as you'll let him. So his vision is much, much more past this small parcel, and he's really looking into the downtown brownfield redevelopment area, where we'll be doing 3- and 4-story construction, concrete, much like Winter Garden looks, brick facades, live, work, play. So this small thing is also a consideration for us is to close early. So we could actually close 30 days after the contract is signed, because you have the land use. So willing to spend money immediately if we're approved. So any questions you might have?
Anybody got questions? When did we put that out? We did that a long time ago.
Yeah, I think it was March.
It kind of
Yeah.
slowed down.
I thought it was May on the response, maybe.
It's been delayed for
Yeah.
4 or 5
Yeah.
months. Yeah.
Well, I thought, well, Corona, yeah. Which,
It was around May with a return, with a response
So-
to June that we've been looking at.
are we gonna just vote on the one for the 17 acres?
Yeah, we need to address both of them.
All right, the first one is the, tell me which one you wanna do first, and then we'll,
You can do, what, you got the residential piece or the commercial piece?
residential piece is the piece run by the school that's undervalued, right? Underappraised?
That one, the highest offer was $2 million. The appraised value was $2,910,000. And even the highest offer was, the proposal was to build apartments.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And this is the parcel, both parcels are in the Crown Point Plan Unit development that we have. And that parcel is identified as a future lakeside village, sort of a live, work, play,
But-
retail.
Did we not have other people that bid on it, but not with apartments?
We did, yeah.
What was their bid?
Townhomes, so the next, you had, K-Hovnanian was 1.82 million. They were proposing 65 single-family homes. And, MI Homes was 1.85 million. They were proposing townhomes. Most of them were townhomes, a couple of, single-family, and then the one apartment.
What if we, I don't know what the rest of them would do, but I think that one you might have to go back and rebid. I think the 2.9 might be a little high, my personal opinions, but I think that one, that section, we could go back and have them reappraise it.
Yeah,
So-
I think the timing was really bad.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the appraisal probably was,
I mean, the other one, the second one's appraised pretty good, but I mean, that first one, to me, was kind of surprising.
Well, it was appraised, the appraisal was sought as the land is under the current sort of mixed-use development.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
but in the total land that what we purchased, what we paid for it, in the aggregate is.
Yeah.
How much does it cost for an appraisal? What's the appraisal cost?
3,000 to
Yes.
5,000, I believe.
Yes, 3 to 5.
About 5,000 to do an appraisal?
And a
Again,
redo is probably half
I think
that.
that the offer is, again, being $1 million less, I don't see how going back doing another appraisal would actually change anything. If that's what I'm hearing, we're talking about going back doing another appraisal to see if it will come down to a lower value, or what am I understanding?
I think that's one of the options, is to have another appraisal done. Another option is just to go back out to bid. Maybe the market has changed somewhat. Another option is just to hold off on selling it at this time. Or you have the option to select one or more of these builders for city staff to.
So if we did another appraisal and it comes back higher, and we spent $3,000 to $5,000, we're back in the same boat. Would that be right to say? We still have to figure out what we do at that
And
point?
now you'd have
Yes,
to
they
give
did
direction.
higher.
It's because it's a possibility it could, am I not right?
If you gave direction, to just have it reappraised or to have it appraised with a special condition, that special condition would be to just be single-family homes or just
Yeah.
townhomes.
Yeah.
And that would bring the appraisal potentially in line with the offers we have.
So it would lower the appraisal.
It would potentially, yes. Because it has sort of a higher, best use presently than just townhomes.
I'm having a hard time kind of wrapping my brain around that concept.
All right, Commissioner Wilson.
I can't speak for Commissioner Brinson, but I don't think, this is your district, correct?
Yes, it is.
That, personally, that area, I don't see the interest in having apartments. And second of all, I think we just sit on the property. Wait for the value to go up, wait for an interest. I mean, it's not costing us anything to keep at this point, correct? I mean, and I don't think the city should be taking $1 million hit. If it's appraised and they're coming in at $1 million less. And I just don't like when I read this about apartments. I'm sorry, I don't know how your residents feel about that, but.
Well,
Having apartments.
Okay, I know exactly how they feel, because they've shared it with me. Not only about the apartments being there, but also looking at it from my perspective, we're looking to, artificially adjust our appraisal to meet the offer, and I think that's not the way to do business. I think the property needs to be appraised at what we think the property, whatever that property appraiser needs to appraise it at. And also, if we do get another appraisal, I'm never comfortable with going back with the same appraiser doing the second appraisal, because whatever it is we want, that's what they're gonna give us. And I don't think that's fair to the taxpayers of the city. So two issues for me is I'm not keen on apartments up in that area, nor am I keen on reappraising, especially with the same appraiser.
all right, we've got to decide what you want to do. We'll take the first and put it off till, we decide what to do with it. We can hold it off, but you need to notify the people that put in those bids. It's been long enough. Now, the second one is right, the price is right, and the price is at the amount it should be. So we can just, city attorney, just
Yeah.
put, the first one is hold up.
So I think the first one would be to reject the offers on the residential piece and notify the bidders that we're not
Right.
selling the property at this
All
point.
right. All right, let's go, then on the second one.
You want to vote on that?
We make a motion
Yeah,
on
let's
that?
vote on that. Do I hear a motion? Put it off to later? Notify them? That's
Yeah,
motion.
I'll make that
Commissioner
motion that-
Wilson, second.
Yeah, I'll make that.
Commissioner Brinson made a
Yes.
motion, you seconded it, Commissioner Wilson?
Yes, I do.
All right, motion made to put it off, then notify them that we're not doing the first section.
Okay, I say that, no, my motion is that we reject the offer of the bids, not the bids, but the offer that was submitted for the residential,
All offers.
all offers.
All right.
That's my motion. Not putting it off, but rejecting it.
Reject. Motion made to reject the offers put in on the first section. There a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Any more comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And Mayor,
Right.
just to clarify, we're just going to sit on that one for a while, correct? We're not expecting to do anything additional with that at this point until there's some additional interest, where if there's additional interest in it in the
Somebody
next
wants to
year,
pay for the
we can
appraisal.
have someone else pay for the appraisal if someone
Right,
else
yes.
is interested.
Yes.
Okay.
Let somebody else pay for the appraisal. The second one, we need a motion on that, if we go in with that, how many million? 3.5 million,
3.56.
17 acres. That's the corner. That's another point I gotta bring up tonight,
Fuller's
too.
Cross and,
So we need them,
I have a question
all right,
to the speaker, if you don't mind me asking before we.
there, he's
You
going
had-
back up there.
Okay, in, the information I read, you put a tractor supply company, is that what you?
It's Kubota. It's all conceptual because we don't have a contract with you. We can't really go and sign a contract with another party, but they've approached us. They want to be in the city. Kubota is like a lawn tractor, a tractor on a farm. They're really kind of a smaller tractor.
They're
So
low.
it's a retail, higher-end tractor. I wish I
Okay,
could
yeah, I've
afford
seen the
one.
name, not that I use a tractor, but
It's
I've
the
seen the
orange
name.
ones. There's really bright orange.
I've seen the name. Okay, no, I just wondered what that was. Just-
Yeah, it's Kubota.
Thank
No
you.
apartments.
No
No
apartment,
apartments.
yes.
No apartments. And I think they're gonna work with the staff to come up with something that'll fit what we have in our overlay out there, so I hope.
I have a question. You mentioned tractors. Is, on that same road, it's McGuire, is it McGuire and Fuller's Crossing?
It's Fuller Cross and McGuire.
McGuire.
Okay.
Is there a John Deere, equipment dealer on that road, or some type of, there's some kind of equipment dealer, but I'm not sure what.
Deermere.
On McGuire, near the Public Works facility, there's a large Sunbelt rental,
Okay, it's Sunbelt Rentals?
Yes.
Okay. got it.
yes.
Okay,
And that is a
they rent
large,
large equipment
and that's a large, that property was zoned heavy industrial to permit that use. And with this tract of land, which is located in our PUD, it's our planned development,
Yeah,
you will see any plan before you to permit the uses and the building type and the architecture and everything. You see all that along the way, because that has to be put into the plan unit development, has to be amended in. So you as the property owner and seller will see that well, unless they close quickly, but it will come back through in this PD process, you will see it all.
all right.
Are they responsible for any of the infrastructure, in purchasing that land? Are there any responsibilities for, like, we talk about left turn signals? That's, again, we all know that that's a problem
Yeah.
intersection, so
Yes,
is
so,
there any,
Right at the corner.
plans to, for this developer to help out or to give input
Yeah.
into
Yes.
that infrastructure?
so the overall plan unit development had a traffic study and has road layout, extension of Crown Point Parkway, widening, as all the committed uses within the plan unit development, of which this tract is a commercial use. And so part of the Fuller's Cross, Ocoee August road work was a result of that. That we know the turn lanes were needed, we know with the width of right-of-way. That project is funded, committed, will start. When they come in with their development, we'll look at the development as proposed to the amount of square footage allotted in the transportation study when the PUD was approved, to see if it's gonna generate more trips, less trips, but we'll also see what type of trip it is. Where's the main entrance? It has an entrance in the PUD on Ocoee August and one on Fuller's Cross. With their development program, we'll reevaluate that based off of what they're providing, and then let everyone know this is what's being provided, this is how we're going to mitigate any instances. But most of that was already pre-planned in the overall plan unit development.
When was the traffic study done?
2000 and probably 2002.
Done
It's based off
2002.
of land use.
Okay, so looking here, we're 2020, 18 years later, is that traffic survey sunsetted, negated? I mean, is there a need to do another one based on current occupancy
Right.
of residents?
As the city being the developer, quote unquote, a lot of those commitments were already, those infrastructure was put in. The Crown Point Park Road, the right-of-way was dedicated, we did that because we owned it, and we have, so most of the improvements were put in place or given, the land was given for that. So with that in mind, as they come in with the type of development, you look at, is it commercial, or is it office, or is it restaurant? And you look at those peak hours, and you see what is where the trips are permitted. The type of trip is not necessarily etched in stone. So we're gonna look at that type of trip, see when those peak hours are. That's what's gonna generate, does a right turn lane, a decel lane, does a right turn lane need to be lengthened? But the overall trip count is already accounted for in the plan unit development. So we do get another
I'm only
look
going
at
by
it.
what I see right now. I'm looking at
Right.
how that intersection looks right now, so it is quite challenging to get through there from time to time.
Right. Yeah. So the plan unit development, when it came through, all that land was agriculture. And when they did the traffic study, these parcels on Ocoee August and Fuller's Cross were changed to commercial. We had school use come in, we had residential use. That is all factored in as highest and best use, so that generates a number of trips with the change in land use. So that's where you capture all those future trips in the study. It assumes there's gonna be a lot of new trips from this development. And that's where that number of trip generated is taken care of. But the type of trip is what changes.
So the traffic study that was did in 2002
Yes.
gives future
It used the land
use
uses.
in 2020.
Yes.
Does it state that?
Yes, and that's where, when we did a land use amendment for the townhomes next to the West Orange Trail, just north of the Renaissance Charter, its traffic study had to take into account all the land uses and those trips as part of the Crown Point PUD. So it takes those trips and puts them in there. All right, that's how the traffic studies work.
All right. We need a motion for the contract to buy the piece. What's that called? You got,
Yeah, so this would be a motion to direct city staff to enter into a contract with, give me the name? TPK, GPK, for the sale of the commercial piece, 17.96 acre commercial piece on Ocoee August Road, Fuller's Cross Road.
all right, so we need that motion, and then I'll need a second.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Brinson. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Commissioner Wilson? All right,
Yes.
and I thought that finger was for that.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Any more comments? $3,560,000, that cash? All right, everybody in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any motion, like side. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, we're gonna move to one other one now. I'm gonna move back, because this gentleman was here last time and sit through the whole meeting. Item number 10, right? All right, we're gonna go to item number 10, and I know the zoning manager, you gonna do this, right?
I'm gonna do this one.
Okay. Sorry about that. They waited the last time so late, we didn't get it.
Okay, the item is the second reading of an ordinance to amend the plan unit development. Just as I mentioned what happened on the previous item, we have a plan unit development. This is located, it's called Ocoee Landings. It's off Silver Star Road, on the north side of Silver Star Road, next to the public shopping center. The plan unit development that was approved in October of 2018 had a commercial portion, commercial lots, and a residential portion. The residential is built out. It's a 50-lot community by K. Hovnanian. As part of the original plan unit development, we created its own zoning district. We had a plan that showed the 4 commercial lot layout, and then we had the list of zoning uses. With this plan unit development, we went with the C2 zoning district, and within that, we excluded automobile sales, hotel, motel uses from the list of what's allowed in C2, and then any of the special exception uses. The commercial part is coming in for, it's under review for the infrastructure, and the property owner came to the city and said, we've got an automotive use, we're looking at a specific use, not just a general use, we have a specific user, and think this site works. And we also have a secondary use we want to talk to you about. That use would be on Lot 1 of the 4-lot commercial subdivision, permitting a specific Firestone brand tire and automotive service center. And then the second one, I want to make a change to the staff report. It would be for a car wash, but under a special exception. And that special exception is a public hearing process where you get to review the plan to see if it's appropriate or not. The car wash industry has changed from you have buildings where you do all of the work yourself to hybrids. There's some nice new ones out near Claremont. Maybe that's an appropriate use or something the city wants at such time as it's proposed. Maybe it's not. So by limiting to a special exception, it says it might be, but you got to run it through us and we'll determine whether it fits or not. With the automotive repair on Lot 1, we have a specific user. We have a specific elevation attached to that. Just want to give you a little bit of history. In the C2 zoning district, automobile repair before around 2010 was a permitted use within the C2 district. And Highway 50, which is our heavy commercial area, has vacant C2 properties and some C3. Within the Highway 50, we have a specific target area where we have a zoning overlay, target area 2, where city center is going. And we had an application that we were going to receive for a tire kingdom. And target area 2 is an overlay that is intended to be a walkable characteristic. So I've got this little map here to show you. This is all being unveiling this soon. This is an online zoning map the city is finalizing, but this shows the overlays within the city. We have target area 1, target area 2, and then the hospital is target area 3. It's not really a zoning overlay, it's more of a development pattern. But then we have our other overlays, 429 character areas, and then we have the brownfield overlay. And these specific overlays with the city, we've kind of designated them as mixed use, multimodal, walking, bicycling. The rest of the city doesn't have that designation on it. We have general land development code items. So in an attempt to protect the Highway 50 corridor, especially in a target area where we wanted the automobile to not be the emphasis necessarily, we removed automobile repair out of C2 zoning. And it's just stayed that way. Now back to this item. Show you the site plan. So we have the 4 commercial lots. I'll show you on the aerial here. You can see in the background the residential lots. This is the commercial area, and within Lot 1, this is the corner of Silver Star Road in Ohio. You have the Publix in the back, and you have the side entrance to Willows on the Lake. You have an interior spine road and another commercial lot. They're looking at approving just for this lot, Firestone Automotive Repair. Initially, when they brought it to staff, we said, okay, well, we kind of took automotive repair out of C2. This is the reasons, but it wasn't necessarily over the whole city, but it's kind of worked out that way. And we looked at the ability to, on a PUD, be able to control what comes in. That's what's nice about a plan unit development. If they just ask, hey, we just want to go with all C2 uses, we would not necessarily have as much ability as we do during this process to say, okay, looking at the project, you have single family, which will be a commercial lot distance and a spine road away. You can see that commercial lot will be up here, the spine road, and you have 1 home. So it might be. If you look at automotive repair citywide, we have 6 of them on Highway 50. We have 5 of them on Highway 50, from Good Homes Road all the way to the 429. And we have 1 smaller one on Blueford Avenue. That is a solar garage by itself. And there's nothing in the north area and nothing in that Silver Star, sort of that northern half of the city, for there to be automobile repair. So as I evaluated it, I looked at the ability for people in the city to be able to live, work, and shop in their neighborhood. And this would be one service if you wanted to patronize only somebody in the city. You would have to drive from Commissioner Oliver's district or Brinson's district to Highway 50. So I'm looking at a lot that we have some ability to control. a lot that is not directly adjacent to single family. We had this instance at what we call the Weston Bay commercial, where the Dollar Tree is and the Dunkin' Donuts. That was a development similar to this. And we received Christian Brothers Automotive said came to us and said, we want to develop on this lot. And we really told them it's not good, it's too close to residential. It went away and we got the Dollar Tree. But that was one instance where we said this does not fit. This one, it kind of checks the list to be potentially, this is a place we could introduce that. There is one quick change oil in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center, but otherwise there are no car services, and this is a planned development. So with that, I offer this up to the City Commission. It would limit, as I said, the Firestone. And we've worked with the Willows on the Lake subdivision. This is a rendering they gave verbal approval for. It uses a berm with landscaping. It has the bays facing the west. This is the road going back to Willows on the Lake. We did not want it facing to the east because there is residential directly east to it. There is no residential directly west, just to the north. This would be the view from when you come out of the gate, the side gate to the Willows on the Lake, and then you have the Publix and the Bank Shopping Center entrance over here as well. So with that, we recommend, we support the Firestone Automotive on Lot 1 by itself, not any other lots. And my finger's working too fast. And then car wash as a special exception use. Is it appropriate on Lot 4 or on Lot 2? It depends on what type it is, and it's another service that would be provided for the residents in the area. We have one in the city of Ocoee on Highway 50. And with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Lot 4 faces Silver Star, right?
Lot 1, 2,
Lot
and
4.
4, yes, they face Silver Star, yes.
All right, do you have anything to read on it, Scott?
We do. We have an ordinance to read, and then we received 3 comments, email comments that I'll read in. Let me read the ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, approving a substantial amendment to the land use plan for the Ocoee Landings PUD LUP for certain real property comprising approximately 6.84 acres, located north of East Silver Star Road and south of the Ohio Bay subdivision pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, amending the Ocoee Landings PUD LUP and preliminary subdivision plan to allow automobile repair and car wash as approved uses to the PUD. Nope. So the modification was car wash would be a special
Yes.
exception.
Yes, on the land use plan, yes, we have, yes, car wash would be a special exception, and yes, and that on Lot 1.
Finding consistency with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing an effective date. And Mayor, can I read the comments?
Yes, sir.
All right, the first one is from Patty Leroy. It has come to my attention that the above amendment is up for vote Tuesday, August 4th. As a resident in District 4, I sincerely hope you are against this proposal. Approving a Firestone store will in no way improve the quality of life in this residential area. As I understand, Winter Garden had the good sense to vote against this proposal. In the Silver Star Clark Road crossroads, there are 2 auto parts stores, 1 Valvoline store, Exxon Mobil with car wash, and BP station. I strongly believe, and I am sure many others will agree with me, that the land would be better suited to another type of business than an auto repair. The second comment is from Mitzi Turciano. Although I would rather be at the City Hall for this meeting due to the coronavirus, I am unable to attend in person because I am in the at-risk category. Therefore, listed below are the items that I would like to see as a condition for approval. 1, raised bed landscape buffer. 2, landscape is to be kept in HOA condition. Example, no dead grass, maintain trees and bushes. 3, a 30-foot buffer with established trees in the Willows on the Lake subdivision. A 30-foot buffer with established trees in the Willow on the Lake subdivision was removed by K. Hovnanian when the land was cleared along with the chain link fence. Due to this loss of property that was taken away, I would like to see the proposed wall to be raised to 8 feet to mitigate this loss and protect our subdivision. Thank you for your consideration. Please confirm receipt and advise the date and time of the Firestone meeting. And then the last comment is from Cindy Shaw. I am writing this letter because I am deeply concerned about the idea of another auto-related store being considered for the northeast area of the Silver Star and Clark Road intersection. I have lived in this area for 31 years. My adult children do as well. I want to be heard loud and clear that my voting will reflect the decision that is made. The last thing we need is a tire store. We have only 2 choices for fast food in this area. We could certainly use a food-type business and would be grateful for a decision more in line with the pulse of the community. Please accept my email as a strong vote of no on this topic. My adult daughter, Christina Shaw, agrees with my opinion and resides here as well. Thank you in advance for voting no on the Firestone Tire Store.
All right, I'm gonna open it to the public where the recipient can come up and talk. Introduce, should give you your surname.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Chip Bryan. I'm the managing partner of My Jack Silver Star, which is the owner of the PUD, Ocoee Landings PUD, and happy to answer any questions that you have. Mr. Roomer, I think, did an excellent recap on the history, the discussions. We had extensive meetings with Mr. Roomer, with staff, with adjacent property owners, the Willows Association that he mentioned as well.
All right, questions?
Since this is an amendment, what was the original use for that tract of land?
The,
It was,
Mr. Roomer?
it was any of the C2 uses in our zoning table, which could be, Walmart is in a C2. Commercial, retail, restaurant, office, vet, there's a list of uses, but we excluded specifically out of what's permitted, automobile sales, so no car lot, no hotel motel, and the reason for that is we had one proposed in the area, one of those really low weekly rental places, and so we thought if a hotel did want to come, it would have to really be vetted before we would come in and request that. And so hotel, motel, car sales out of the permitted uses within the C2. So bank, restaurant, retail, strip retail, any of those type of uses.
My question is, when you developed that tract of land, what was your thought in developing it? At the time, when you purchased it and actually started developing it, what was your thoughts as far as, this is what I want to develop at this time?
It was originally zoned in its entirety, so the total property is just over 20 acres, and at the time we acquired it, it was all commercial zoning. And that was also a time when the economy was facing some challenges, and you know, as we are today, different challenges. So after kind of going through a pretty interactive process with staff, we looked at a combination of uses. We kind of realized there was not likely to be enough demand for a 20-acre parcel to be entirely retail commercial uses. And that was the point at which we realized pursuing a mixed-use PUD that would have a component of residential, and that's the 50 single-family homes that Mr. Roomer mentioned that are now constructed, a combination of that, the homes, and the commercial. The commercial component of it has always remained flexible. We wanted to have the ability, you know, we were in agreement with the uses that Mr. Roomer mentioned excluding. We agreed with him that there were certain uses that would not be appropriate in a location like this, but we always, beyond that, we wanted to try to maintain the maximum degree of flexibility, given the challenging commercial and retail environment, you know, what some people call the Amazon effect. It's always hard to know who your ideal users might be, and so we've tried to keep that flexible. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Commissioner.
Yes, I have read through each one of these memos from citizens. Actually, I read them before I got the printout. And when they start developing this tract of land, I watched this, and I watched it in excitement, because I was under the impression that we might be getting a restaurant or two in our area. Stated by, I think, Ms. Shaw, I think she stated the same thing. But now we are looking at putting a auto repair shop, which again, there is a car wash on the corner of, on actually the southwest corner of Silver Star and Clare Corner, I'm sorry, on Silver Star and Clark Road. Then across from there, you got two auto parts stores. Then there's also there's an oil change business right next to the gas station. But if you go down the road, about a mile down the road, there is a complete auto repair business where the old Sears used to be. So there is a auto repair business there as well. So you're talking about putting these two businesses in direct competition when it's clear that the citizens are looking for something more robust. And when I say robust, something that they can enjoy spending their tax dollars all the time, not when the car breaks down. So I would like to see a restaurant there, some type of restaurant there. That's what I would love to see, and I believe that most of the residents that live in that area, Willow on the Bend, the people that the residents I've spoken to, Lakeside, Reflections, all those residents that I speak to, that they talk about this. Matter of fact, some of them showed up at my town hall meeting last year, and we talked about that tract of land, and we were all excited about the possibility of having a restaurant, a new restaurant in our area. So I'm going to have to really side with my residents, and I think that it would be nice to have a restaurant as opposed to an auto repair shop in that area.
All right. I was looking back at that property years ago. It used to be a Grove service there on that place, and it was an airport out there.
Had a landing strip.
And I was just looking, a while ago, where'd that other picture go of the land? All right. There. This is gonna be up here, and this is gonna be there, and this is here, and they're more into this, with that building here to that. The thing of it is, Firestone that I've seen, I've looked, when I travel, I look at different things because of what we get here in town, and I know that Firestone puts on a good store. I don't see the problem. Restaurants, I would love to have a restaurant. We can't even get a restaurant out on Highway 50. You can't get it on Silver Star if you're not gonna get it on Highway 50, folks. It'd be nice, you know, somebody try to put a chicken place there, or put a pizza place, or something like that is what's gonna happen. But, yeah, I'd like to see a restaurant there, but you won't see it. They're not gonna go there because of the road trips and all that. They wanna be somewhere like Sand Lake Road or Highway 50, and right now, we can't even get them on Highway 50. So, no, I think that with the buffer and all is not a bad thing. I think the car wash, I wouldn't particularly want to see one of those car washes where you pull in and wash it yourself. The one out here on Highway 50 is a pretty nice car wash. If you get something like that, I think that's something that's amicable to what you would be. But, no, I don't have a problem, because I honestly believe that you will never get a restaurant there on that property. And I think what you have to do is research it with the trips and everything like that and see that, but I think that you'll find that out. And I will say, I went in and looked at the houses, and they're pretty nice. I was kind of wondering how that was gonna be on that curve and everything, but I went in there and walked in and looked at the model. It's pretty nice. And like I said, that used to be an airport, and then on the other end, it was a Grove caretaking, big. It had all kind of tractors and all kind of equipment out there, so this would be an upgrade. And like I said, I think with putting it on Silver Star out on the front by the bank would be not a bad place. And you can landscape it up and dress it up and make sure the parking, I would say you'd have no cars in the front, it has to be in the back and that kind of thing. So I don't have a problem with that, but I want to make sure the citizens know that if there was any way at all that we could put a restaurant there, I'd vote for that in a minute. But this has a hard time keeping them in that shopping center over there where Winn-Dixie is, where it used to be. We do have another restaurant in there now, so that's good to know. All right, and Commissioner Wilson.
I'm not in favor of this, I will be quite frank, that, I remember when it was discussions in District 3, that when next to the apartments, they wanted to put car repair, the neighbors were in disagreement with it. I see neighbors here in disagreement with it. I don't know, I see Willows on the Lake. I realize this borders, this is Commissioner Oliver's district, but this borders on my district also across the street, because a lot of my residents are in that general area. When I look at the residents, I don't think a berm is going to really help much with the sound. That we had the complaints when there was car repair going into District 3. I also feel as though there's probably better uses for the land there than a car repair. And what happens is, one car repair sells out to another car repair, and we have no control over what is going to happen. You can say no cars all night, you can say whatever you want, but if it sells out to a different car repair, it's a car repair. And so I'm not in favor of a car repair. The car wash, I don't see anyone complaining about a car wash, and I do understand some of those car washes are very nice. But when it comes to car repair facility, I'm not in favor of it.
Thank you. And just in response to that quickly, two things. Commissioner Oliver's original comment regarding the restaurant and the mayor's subsequent comments. We do have remaining additional commercial parcels, so the door is absolutely not closed regarding a restaurant. We would love to see a restaurant there. We are not in the restaurant business, we're developers. The market really kind of decides in many cases what's considered a viable use for a given location based on the perceived demand. So we rely on the people who are in that individual business to make those judgments. We did have discussions with some restaurants in the early going. Obviously, restaurants right now are facing challenges that has effectively closed the door to any kind of ongoing discussions with development of new restaurants. We hope that will be behind us soon, but I just wanted to point out the fact that that door is absolutely not closed, and that the approval of the Firestone would absolutely not preclude the possibility of a restaurant on the site. And then with respect to Commissioner Wilson's comments, I understand what you're saying regarding the use. We did work with the adjacent subdivision. We worked with them at the time the residential was developed as well, and felt like it was a pretty good relationship. In the context of the Firestone, we made revisions to the design and the landscape buffering in conjunction with Mr. Rimmer's input. We did make revisions to the plan. And then lastly, we do have a property owners association. So with respect to the business potentially subsequently selling, as is the case with homes, et cetera, there would be enforcement regarding compliance with these kind of design components that we've incorporated in as a result of this public input. So those would have to stay there. So if Firestone got bought out by somebody else, the look of it, the restrictions on hours of operation, all of that would still be able to be governed through the Property Owners Association as a mechanism under the PUD.
We have a property association, I believe, with across the street with the Burger King and the school. And honestly, that entrance is deplorable. Deplorable. I mean, I have gotten more complaints over and that has nothing to do with this, but I have more complaints over the entrance to that and the way it looks in there than probably other areas of my community.
That's unfortunate, certainly. Not all property associations are created equal, as we all know. But we would aspire to be much better than that.
Commissioner first.
I don't have a problem with proposed businesses there. It is a commercial corridor, so it's not completely out of place. Would like to see a restaurant go in the available commercial lots. And I'd also like to see the recommendations by the Willows HOA with the buffers, regarding the buffers, wall, whatever else you can do to, maintain that distance, maintain that separation on the backside from the residential area. But other than that, I don't really see a problem with it.
One other quick thing, and yeah, there is an oil change place behind that gas station on the corner. There is only 2 gas stations there because that's what the city put in a long time ago. You could not have 4 gas stations on the corners because that's what was leading to happen. We'd have kept that like it was, and we changed that. But that oil change place there, I went there one time. It's not more of it's just a throat building there, and they don't have landscaping. They don't do anything. So I don't particularly think that's much of a. And I do believe people that have their car worked on and you know, it's better to have it near you than having to travel to Orlando. Or then I look at the one you're talking about on Blueford, that one doesn't suffice even for parking, so. I just think you have to landscape it and you have to dress the buildings up and make them that way. That other one you were talking about, I went over and looked at it too when we were talking about it over in Claremont. But like I said, I don't know how you get restaurants. We'd all love to have the restaurants here. Commissioner Branson?
Yeah, on this properties here, I see, look, appears to be residential lots, just, I guess.
Just the
Yes,
black
west-
outline to the right
east-
there?
Yes, east of it?
Yeah,
Is there-
that is now a constructed subdivision that was built, the homes were built by K. Hovnanian, as Mr. Rumor
Oh,
indicated.
so this
and-
is an old rendition.
Right, that's an old aerial.
Okay.
Those homes are, in fact, now, I think there's only one that remains to be CO'd. So they're effectively all constructed,
Okay.
and it was 50 homes.
And just so I'm clear, on the step down there, just, you know, is it, what's the plan for berms and or buffers for those residential?
So the code requires, for the dissimilar uses, the code requires buffers, which consist of, in our case, a brick wall and a landscape buffer. In addition, exceeding the code requirements or the standards of the PUD, relative to the Firestone, we have proposed an additional width of buffer and a raised and elevated berm in response to feedback from the residents. So what is proposed would exceed the code and the original PUD standards in the context of the Firestone.
Can you tell me how high that raised berm is? Do you have an idea?
I believe it's 2.5 feet, Mr. Rumor might.
It was up to 3 feet. It depends on how far, it depends on the back of slope and all of that. so.
And one of my concerns with automotive repair shop there is impact wrenches going off. You know, it's 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, and people can't enjoy the homes that they just built.
Right.
So that's a concern, you know, and that's kind of where we have to do is we have to look at, because it's a great opportunity, not only for you as a developer, but also for us as a municipality to bring in more businesses and sell property or let you develop properties you already have in your possession. However, we also have to make accommodations for our residents and our visitors and our homeowners and business owners to make sure it's not adversely affecting them. And so I know I would not want me to have an impact wrench, you know, or 6 of them going off at the same time, just on the other side of a wall. So, you know, I'm kind of torn here because I think we do need an automotive repair shop that's nice.
It would be buffered by that additional Lot 2 that you see in the back, which would not be the tire store use. That'll be a future commercial use to be determined. So part of the thinking and the discussions that took place with Mr. Rumor and staff were that use would serve as a pretty significant additional buffer between the homes. And that was also a consideration in determining the direction that the bays would face, because that's kind of where the sound gets projected. And so they face the existing commercial uses on the Publix shopping center side for that reason. But it's
So-
an excellent point.
So it's not open on both sides. The automotive repair shop won't have bay
No.
doors on both sides.
No, sir. That's kind of an older standard that they used to use, but nowadays, with the architectural review and considerations of building, you know, every elevation is looked at. The old days, you know, the back alley, things back there kind of got ignored a lot of times, but in today's world, we can't do it that way.
All right.
I just want to make one more comment before we move on. Has anyone ever been to the Publix on Good Homes Road? There is a Pep Boys right there on that corner, right there. And if you've ever been there trying to get out on Good Homes Road, it is almost impossible. I seriously see the same thing happening here in my district. And again, I just cannot see putting my residents through this again. If you've ever traveled on Good Homes Road and so try to get out of there, I see the same thing happening here with this automotive repair business. There is one automotive repair business about a mile down the road by the mall. The old Sears Automotive Repair is an automotive repair within the district. So you don't have to travel far to get your car fixed. So it is one in place, but I just can't see embedding a auto repair business in the middle of the residential area in that public shopping plaza, as it is extremely busy. I just don't see it.
They also make
I
a
will,
U-turn.
I'm gonna make a comment about that place he's just talking about. That is the worst setup for a driveway that ever been made. That place that he just brought up
On Good Homes?
Good Homes Road. That's because of Highway 50 plus across the street. That was not laid out right. And that, I know Johnston's car place used to be there, and that's one of the reasons they left. They don't have the parking, they don't have the driveways. It's not a good place to be that, you know, at all. That place is terrible. All right, I'm gonna close the public hearing, bring it back, and we need to get a vote going. Well, commissioners,
I'm not in favor, so I would be making a negative motion. I mean, I'll make the motion, I'm sorry, it's your district, but
Sounds like a motion died for
Commissioner
lack of a-
first or anybody?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance as amended.
I'll second it. I want to make a comment. We have, I know we all look after citizens, and I will say that we built those houses after that stuff was built. I'll make the second, but we have to look at the people that buy these properties and want to put stuff in, as long as it fits in our code. If that fits in the code, he's saying it does. I think as long as we make sure they're, you know, everything's settled, because some citizens do want it there. So like I heard up on where Commissioner Brinson lives, I don't know, but they're gonna put a gas station on that corner. I've had people ask me about that, wanting a gas station. I was surprised, but they did. But I just think sometimes we have to let, you know, if the property's there is commercial, you can't put houses up there. I wouldn't want a house beside that public shopping center and the bank, so that's why I would say, as long as we make sure the citizens are buffered and everything's there, I don't see.
Well, there are houses there. There's
No,
houses
I
outside
didn't
the
say there
wall.
wasn't houses. I said, if you put houses on that front, I said, if you put houses, there's a lot of places in town that's got houses. Man, go up there, once again, go up there to Commissioner Brinson's district and look what they just put right by those houses. They built those houses right there behind the Dunkin' Donut, that plaza, the dollar store. And we built that dollar store across the street or whatever it is on the other side of where they're at. That's the ugliest looking thing I've ever seen. They don't landscape it, they don't do anything. So it's terrible, and it's built right by the house. It is, it looks terrible.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Mayor, I think you kind of solidifying our argument.
But it's a
That's-
commercial property, yeah, I probably did vote for it.
Yes,
You know,
yeah.
sometimes we're set up here to do things somebody might not like always what you do, but there is a reason. I don't know, that's been a long time ago. I don't know if I voted for it or not. But even so, they don't have me a problem that I don't go call and complain about it. I've called code enforcement about it. And if it's a problem and causing a problem, I'm gonna call and complain. If they don't keep up the landscaping, they don't mow it, because we told those homeowners we'd do that, and that's one of the reasons I do that. All right, so motion is to approve it and then second it. All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Hang on, procedural.
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry.
We-
Don't throw it.
Yeah, so the motion, what was the motion?
Motion was to approve the amendment to the plan unit development per staff recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion was made by Commissioner Firstner and seconded by the mayor. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion fails 2-3.
All right.
Thank
Go
you.
back and see you. All right. All right. First, what about, does that include what about the car wash thing? Does that improve that?
Yeah, that would include the
Huh?
car, unless you wanted to make a motion to separate the two.
I think check that. All right.
do we make the motion to?
All right, now let's go Second readings, all right.
Mayor,
Public
I
hearing.
didn't think the car wash was included in this point. I thought that was a later issue.
Huh?
I thought the car wash was a later issue.
It wasn't mentioned, did it?
No, it was part of the staff recommendation.
Yeah.
Was approval of the car wash.
But the motion
Special
wasn't,
exception.
didn't include that.
All right. Second reading of ordinance creating a new chapter 176 of the Code of Ordinances for fertilizer management, grass clippings, and vegetable materials and debris, pet waste. Steve Crew?
Mayor, Commissioners, we're requesting adoption of a fertilizer ordinance. We have been operating under Orange County's ordinance. However, with the city being part of the Ocoee Basin watershed, or Springshed, Florida Department of Environmental Protection is requesting that we actually adopt one for our city itself, and that's why we're bringing this as a procedural type of ordinance. And I'm requesting adoption of the ordinance.
All right, so this is, you gotta read it, Scott?
Yes. So this is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, creating a new Chapter 176 in the City of Ocoee Code of Ordinances, enacting a fertilizer management, grass clippings, and vegetative material debris and pet waste chapter, regulating application of fertilizer to lawns and turf in the City of Ocoee, providing for definitions, providing for seasonal restrictions on fertilizer application, providing restrictions for fertilizer constituents, phosphorus, and nitrogen, providing for restrictions in rates in fertilizer application, providing for training requirements for commercial applicators of fertilizer, providing for grass clippings and vegetative material debris and pet waste management, providing for exemptions, providing for enforcement, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date. And then there's a companion resolution, a resolution of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the fine and fee schedule as authorized by ordinance number 2020-16 to include a fine and fee for violations of Chapter 176 City Code Fertilizer Management, grass clippings and vegetative material debris and pet waste, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
All right. Do we need to open it to the public?
Yes.
Public hearing. It's open for the public. If nobody in the public, bring it back. Nobody on the phone for it.
Everybody on the phone, and we haven't received any emails.
Okay. So we bring it back to the dais. Anybody want comments on this? We just need a motion.
I have a question. Attached to this motion, attached to the resolution is nuisance, false alarm. I mean, I think we've got some different, such street and side, golf carts on public streets. I don't have anything to do with the, with-
Commissioner, that's the matrix that the hearing board uses.
Yeah.
It's all under one resolution for everything from bow fishing
Okay,
to
okay.
fertilizer violations.
Commissioner,
So
On
it's
the
a
bottom.
summary.
Okay.
So
okay.
actually, that's amending that matrix to add that in with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All
So
right.
I have a question. Is this fee schedule less than or comparable to surrounding municipalities? Or is it the same? Or-
It's in line with other municipalities.
Okay.
And this is actually enforceable. We can't enforce Orange County's ordinance. We can just ask people to abide by it. That's why the Florida DEP has asked us to enact our own.
Do we have to wait the 3 minutes? Do we have to wait 3 minutes on these? Remember we had to wait 3 minutes for people to call in? Do we still have to wait the 3 minutes?
The mayor made the announcement,
Yes, I did.
Okay, no, I just wondered if we,
and we're getting,
hand the
we're
gavel to
getting
you.
emails, not with regards to this, but for other comments, so.
okay.
So, one last question. Animal waste cleanup? What is that all about?
It all falls down to putting too many nutrients into the ground, like by lakes and everything. The whole point of this is to keep people to be proactive and not put a lot of nitrogen and phosphates and unwanted nutrients where they don't belong, where they can't be treated.
Into the aquifer and waterways, okay.
No, pick up after your dog. you ever walk down the sidewalk and have someone not pick up after the dog on the sidewalk?
Okay, we'll do it at the end.
Yes.
Yes, awful.
Is that his stuff here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm good, I'm just requesting
Need a
approval.
motion.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson, seconded by Commissioner Brinson for the resolution number 2020 of the fertilizer.
Let's do the ordinance first.
All right, thought you did.
So,
Oh, were you, oh, I
Oh,
thought you,
I'm sorry, so the motion would be
to approve
approve the ordinance establishing a new chapter 176.
I'm sorry, yes. I thought you were gonna read something.
No.
No, all right,
Thank you.
all right. Any more comments? If not, all in favor of motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. All right. Thanks, sir.
Let's do the resolution now.
We gotta do the resolution.
This would be approval of the resolution establishing a fine and fees relating to the new ordinance creating chapter 176.
That it? All right, now I need a motion for the resolution.
I'll make that-
Commissioner Wilson,
Make that motion.
I'll
made the
second.
motion. Do I hear a
I'll second it. Yep.
Seconded by Commissioner Oliver. Any more comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
thank you.
All right, item number 9. Second reading of ordinance amended chapter 164, restoration, maintenance, and security of abandoned real property. Police Chief Brown.
I'll go ahead and read the title of that ordinance
right.
as he's walking up. An ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending Chapter 164 of the City of Ocoee Code of Ordinances, revising and updating language relating to penalties, revising and updating language relating to the registration of abandoned property, providing for applicability and severability, providing for codification, providing an effective date.
Hello, Mayor Commissioner. I'm recommending approval to the amendment to the abandoned property or vacant registry ordinance. It's already been in place. What this does is clarify the timeframes. So in the past, everyone's had to pay their fee for the vacant registry, but we didn't have a time frame. So if they went vacant multiple times in 1 year, they had to pay each time, and that we eliminated that, and that's what the ordinance amendment is. That's it.
All right. So, we need to open the public hearing. You need to read anything before I open it?
No, I already read it.
All right, open the public hearing.
We have no emails and no phone calls with regards to this item.
All right, bring it back to the podium. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead. Well, I'll make a motion that we approve item number 9.
Motion made by Commissioner Oliver, we approve item number 9, second reading of ordinance amended chapter 164, seconded by Commissioner Brinson.
Yes, I'll second it.
All right, any more comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
All right. The designation of vote delegate. I need to ask the question. Rosemary, Commissioner Wilson, this is gonna be virtual, right?
Yes, it is.
You're the board member, you're still on the board of directors for the.
Yes, I am.
Can you do this?
I can unless someone else wanted to do it.
I would
have no
make a
problem.
motion. We're not gonna be there, so I would make a motion that, what's the date?
The date is,
August 14th.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out of town, August
And-
14th.
I have to attend the
Yeah.
league meeting, so I will be
All right,
zooming in
I
on
make a
that.
motion, Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second?
Yes, second.
Motion carries. You're it. All in favor, aye?
Tag, you're it.
All right,
It's gonna be an interesting meeting, because, again,
yeah,
unfortunately, we're not having our conference, which
Yeah.
is very enlightening to us, so.
all right. All right, staff actions.
Nothing further tonight.
All right, Commissioner Oliver.
Keep in mind that even though we're still dealing with the coronavirus, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the numbers seem to be fluctuating every day, keep in mind we are still in hurricane season. Hurricane season started June 1st. and it goes all the way to is it November 30th? From June 1st to November 30th. So we are in the middle of hurricane season, and some of the commentators has predicted this to be an active year. I know because I had to get a new homeowner policy on my home, and it was hard to get someone to write that policy because of the predictions of being an active hurricane season here in the state of Florida. So again, with that in mind, continue to protect yourself from COVID, but also prepare yourself for hurricane season by getting all those essential items that you may need in the midst of a hurricane.
Commissioner Branson,
Nothing at this time.
this is our last comments. So you
No comments.
do- Okay. You got a fancy mask.
He does?
Mr. Wilson,
He does have a fancy mask. Just want to remind everyone that we are having the budget workshop, which will be next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. It will be televised, as the city manager said, so again, please tune in. This is your budget, and your input to all of us is very important. I think on the workshops, there won't be any call-ins, because that's where we just kind of go through the budget, correct, Rob? Is it no call-ins on that night?
Melanie,
Is it-
correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're going to have call-in available. Correct.
It will be televised. Our workshops are open for the public to
Oh,
attend, but usually.
That's right,
they
it's a
don't-
workshop,
Yeah,
so
it's just a
we
workshop.
don't
The
typically
workshop, I think
take
it's when
no
we come to
comments
the
during the
hearings
workshop.
is when we actually, the input, but,
It'll be televised so the public watch, but we don't ever really usually allow comments during the workshop.
not till the public hearing.
not to the
Not
public
to the
hearing.
public.
But just, again, they can always reach out to any of us and tell us their opinions regarding the budget. It is online. Is it been put online up to this point? I know we've got our budget books, but is it already on the online? Do we know? For folks to,
I believe it is, we'll double check and make sure that
okay, we
it's
just
tomorrow.
need to check on that. And please, we ask you all to be safe and to heed the warnings that we are told regarding COVID-19. I know we all can make mistakes, but we all want to try to be safe and stop this before it gets worse.
Here, here.
Thank you, and we hope to see you watching us next Wednesday. Thank you.
Commissioner First. No, I don't know. All right, before I do and we end up the public comments, I got one here that I won't get to Commissioner Auburn, let him bring it up, because it should have been, we should have had this when we were going over the Arden Park, or Lennar.
They've just sent it.
I know. So do you want to read it in, or do we need to read it in to Scott?
The city attorney needs that stuff.
You want to read it in?
Yeah.
Then I'll come up with the last part.
Okay. This is from Jim Moyer. Is this multiple? Oh, so right here? Okay. All right, so this is from Jim Moyer. I want to address the board about Lennar homes in general. We have lived in Arden Park North since mid-March 2020. I am retired and enjoy speaking with my neighbors and have spoken with many of them. Only one person says he has no complaints, but mentioned his wife was the person dealing with Lennar. Whether I'm at the pool, where I go virtually every day, or walk to the mailbox, which I often do, the number of complaints about Lennar are significant. Asking for a list from just one homeowner here would likely be more than you want to deal with. The bottom line is that they are doing everything to pass the expenses of properly building a home onto the home buyer and refusing to fix their shortcomings. Examples: no ceiling fans, no ventilation in the garage that gets well above 120 degrees, poor electrical work according to an electrician currently working for ACE, but formerly working for Lennar, no sprinklers in the backyard, one pool that allows residences from Arden Park South and Arden Park North to attend, which is about 500 homes and about 300 more homes coming. How many people do you think live in 500 to 800 homes? And the list goes on and on. There needs to be 3 steps taken. 1, new homes must not be allowed to be built at this time. 2, an independent professional who is completely independent of Lennar but paid for by Lennar needs to come up with a list you are looking for, which will no doubt exceed 100 pages. 3, the issues on the list need to be resolved prior to building any more homes. Jim Moyer, Doctorate of Education in Organizational Leadership, Master's in Business Administration, Certified Public Accountant. If you do not act now, the citizens of Ocoee, your citizens, will be paying the price for decades, which will be a reflection upon your commission. Note, I am simply trying to create a win-win situation in which I am protecting my neighbors and your reputations.
Okay. That'll be put in public record, right?
Yep.
All right. All right. All right, we're gonna go through some public comments. You need this, if you got how we gonna do this? I'm gonna put them in the thing here, and you
If
can,
you put them in order, I can contact them.
yeah. When you start with one, give it to me. All right, we have some public comments.
Oh, okay.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, this is Melanie, the city clerk for Ocoee. We're live during the commission meeting, and we're gonna go ahead and, put you to speak now. You wanted to address the commission on the haunted house, correct? Okay, I will put you on speakerphone and let you know when you can speak. Okay, one moment. Yes. One moment. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello.
Okay, you're on speakerphone now. To your.
Well, she's doing that, well, Melanie's doing that, can I ask a question? Are we able to do anything like Zoom where the person can call in and we can put them on the screen? I mean, I think this is not gonna be a situation that's gonna end tomorrow. I think we realize that, and I wonder if it's something that when a person calls in, if we could put them, is there a mechanism to put them on Zoom or go to meeting or?
Are you ready to address the commission now?
Yes, I am.
You can go ahead. I have a timer that's gonna be set for 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me address you. It's about the haunted house. When I first saw it earlier this year, I recognized it for what it was. It's a historic house. It's unique. It's a part of our history. And I would like to move it to new location and restore it to new condition and get it listed on the Register of Historic Houses. And hopefully we can work something out so I can do this. That's all I have.
All right, does he wanna get with staff about buying it, or does he wanna, I don't know if we're even wanting to sell it. Steve, Public Works Director, we got,
What is he referring to?
I'm having trouble hearing you, sir.
We could look into that. I'd recommend, the gentleman, we do a tour of it, let him look at the building. There's, significant termite damage, and, the building inside has been modified from the previous owners when they were in it. And nothing wrong, but it just depends if the commission wants to sell the building.
Where is it? What do
It's
we-
the haunted house up on the Rogers property off
Oh,
Ocoee.
okay.
All right, any commissioners want to sell it or talk to them about moving it? I don't.
Are we going to have more haunted houses? Is that gonna be you?
Yep, we hope someday. All right, tell him thank you. We'll discuss it and get back with him.
You're welcome.
All right. We've got about 6 or 7, maybe 8.
Hi, this is TJ. This is Melanie, city clerk for Ocoee. Hi. Were you had, contacted us for a meeting or some comments? Yes, they're ready to hear you now, so I can go ahead and put you on speakerphone and address the commission.
Get to read the name.
It's TJ Legacy Cole. Is that correct?
Cole.
Cole.
Does it say what's regarding?
It's all about the last meeting. About the,
The last meeting?
Yes, okay, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone and we'll set the timer for 3 minutes, okay? Okay, we're able to hear you now.
Yes, thank you everybody for having me during public comments. I do want to introduce myself. My name is TJ Legacy Cole. I'm an activist and I'm a journalist. When I moved to Florida in 2002, my home was Ocoee. And so over the years, I've seen Ocoee change, and it's rapidly changing now. And so when I've been hearing a lot of different things as far as this council is concerned that really concerns me. Specifically how the mayor of Ocoee addresses the African-American males who come before him. The shut up to a commissioner and berating another senator is completely inappropriate. And so with this being the 100-year celebration of, we want to commemorate the 100 years of July Perry, we need to understand of the current climate in this country and understand that when it comes to African Americans, we're not going to tolerate that type of behavior. We're not going to tolerate that type of rhetoric because it's rooted in bigotry. And it takes us nothing. I'm calling today, but I'm calling because I'm concerned. But it really takes nothing for the movement to show up in Ocoee to ask for change. And so I believe that what's going on with all the Founders Day, what's going on with the wanting to have a celebration and not have it canceled and having things, I think it's at this point in time, we really need to focus more on, for anybody who's listening, anybody who's watching on the city of Ocoee online, we really need to pay close attention to what's going on here. And so this city has caught my eye and several residents' eyes, and people have been getting way too many calls about racial discrimination in Ocoee, and it starts at the head. And so my specialty is bigots. So I don't mind addressing anyone I don't mind making sure that we bring awareness to the issues that are facing the people in Ocoee today. So the celebration, I believe that the commission should have to reconsider as far as the commemoration of July Perry and what's going on, and give the community what they want. Because you're waking up people, and you're waking up, and their eyes are now open to what's going on. What happened with, it doesn't matter if you called Senator Bracey and apologize. Your disrespect, your apology needs to be as loud as your disrespect. And so you need to be aware of that, because you are being watched. Because no one is showing up in the physical form doesn't mean.
You got the next ones lined up?
How many are there? How many?
About 8, same stuff. It's all right. I'll talk and get through. I got my time. And back to the thing we were talking about a while ago, I'm gonna tell you that when I see one, I'm gonna vote for, talk about people living in Ocoee. If they don't live in Ocoee, I'm gonna say they don't live there. I don't say their address. That one don't live in Ocoee either. So, that man don't, so. And we voted on that thing again. We're not just gonna keep throwing it around and doing it over and over.
Make that yourself. One of my constituents. I'm not that talented.
Be here all night trying to get them on the phone. If you don't get them on the phone, go to another.
Yeah.
This was another one.
Just gonna, I think while we're waiting, thank you for the Ocoee masks. I add them to my collection. As you know, you probably know, I have got a load. You can breathe, it is a little tough. These are a little warm.
I don't think some of them read the things we haven't had, we quit Founder's Day, knocked it off. It's now, we're going to use it, they keep throwing it out there.
See, Rich, you tease me about these masks, but I have. No, but I do take it like out in the garage, because if somebody walks up, no, I'm trying. It's hard. Okay. We got, uh-oh. I have them in the car. I have, do I?
Miles?
Yes.
Okay, you are now on speakerphone, and I'm gonna put the timer on for 3 minutes, okay? You can go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Miles Moraine. I'm calling in to address the City of Ocoee Council about the lack of diversity that I, as a person who has observed several events that have taken place in Ocoee, and seeing what's just taking place with the recent resurge of people taking to the streets and celebrating culture, I wanted to address the lack of diversity that we're seeing with the City of Ocoee, especially with the 100-year anniversary of July Perry coming up. This is something that people in Central Florida and just in the whole country need to know more about, and I feel like there's a lack of representation that we see. I feel like it's a lack of representation we see when it comes down to the city actually lifting up the family members of the July Perry and the other victims of the Ocoee massacre. And I feel like we always see an emphasis from Ocoee on the Founders Day. And I've seen some comments online recently that's been shared by the public records of the city of Ocoee that just show that the city council, especially the mayor, Rusty Johnson, and other members that have voted against moving the Founders Day or voted against other members who have moved for things that would bring more light to the incident, just shows the lack of diversity and inclusion in the city's agenda. We would love to see the city be more diverse. We would love to see the city address its past history and actually embrace the change that needs to be done in order to fix it. We have people who are taking interest to it, that live within Ocoee, live outside of Ocoee, have ties to it through relatives and whatnot that want to see more, and we are actually moving on the outside to just bring more advocacy and knowledge to what took place in Ocoee. So we're asking, will the city council support grassroots organizations that are trying to bring more awareness? We do have knowledge of the past, different attempts to bring more knowledge and more awareness to this, but will the city council support us when us as third-party organizations come into town and want to work with the city council to bring more awareness to this so that this 100-year anniversary can actually be meaningful for both parties and not just be one-sided? I would love to see if the city council could address that question and let us know, do y'all support us uplifting more of July Perry's family and people who were surviving family members of the Ocoee massacre?
Thank you. All right. Next.
Yes.
You're on now, and the timer will be set once you get started.
Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to say thank you for having this opportunity to speak to the commission tonight. I am speaking because of last month's meeting and the racist behavior of Rusty Johnson toward my son, Senator Bracey. Let me share why I was there in the first place. My son asked me to pick up his two girls and meet him at the meeting. I am not a resident of Ocoee, but I had grandmother duties. So that's what I did. My girls, my granddaughters wanted to know how long they would be there. And I said, not very long. As soon as your dad speaks, you can go home with your dad. That will be it. Well, they were busy, not even paying attention until their dad got up to speak. When their father got up to speak, they immediately began to listen to every word their father said. They heard the exchange, and my youngest granddaughter came to me and said, Grandma, why are they saying we don't live in Ocoee? Dad does. I said, well, Mr. Mayor Johnson decides that he knows more than you do. I said, just sit down, don't worry about it. And then she said, well, he doesn't believe my dad. I said, no, he's calling your dad a liar. I said, but I'll explain later. Well, as he said that he would never make an apology to my son, my second granddaughter got up. She was crying. She said, Grandma, why is he so mean to my dad? I said, well, it's called racism. I said, he's racist. He doesn't like black people. He doesn't like your dad. Then she said, but Grandma, my best friend is his granddaughter.
That's right.
She said, my best friend, his granddaughter, I think she said the name is Kendall. She said, that's my best friend. And now the granddaughter hates my dad. Now the grandfather hates my dad. I said, yes, he does. And she said, well, what about my best friend? I said, I don't know. What I do know is hatred is a learned behavior. And I don't know how much Mr. Johnson has taught his granddaughter in terms of being hateful. But I can say, Mr. Johnson, you made an indelible impression on my two granddaughters. They saw, and now they know what racism looks like. Thank you.
Okay. The one about Founder's Day, I don't even know, well, we don't even need to do, we can put it in the public record, huh? No, we don't have Founder's Day. All right, do the last one. Got it? I think it's Mr. Bracy, right?
My name is Randolph Bracy Jr. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Randolph Bracy Jr., and my son is Randolph Bracy III. George Santayana once said, A people who do not know their history are doomed to repeat it. It was 1971, nearly 50 years ago, when I first came to the town of Ocoee and Ocoee High School as chief recruiter of the University of Florida for black freshmen. Then, I had an eerie and unsettling feeling. School officials were nice, but I could tell that they were going through the motions. And what I was seeing was very superficial, and that I was merely being tolerated. The only good thing I remember about Ocoee in 1971 was the success of my recruitment. I don't remember her name, but I recruited the first black female from this community of Ocoee to attend the University of Florida. While recruiting, I had heard that the town of Ocoee had a bad name among black people because of what had happened many years earlier. However, at the time, I did not know the full extent of the history, but I did know that Ocoee was a place that a black man needed to get in and get out before sundown. Fast forward to 2016, and my incredulity when my son approached me that he was going to purchase a home in Ocoee. I remember asking him, did he know the history of July Perry, or how he was lynched for voting in 1920? Did he know the horrible history of the Ku Klux Klan and how the settlement where black people lived was burned to the ground in Ocoee? Now fast forward to last month, July 2020, Ocoee City Commission meeting, when my son, Senator Randolph Bracey III, made a presentation regarding a proposed event commemorating and celebrating the life and legacy of July Perry on the Saturday before the November 2020 election. I was literally blown away at the lack of decorum and integrity by Mayor Rusty Johnson, who in a public forum accused my son of lying about his address. What I saw and heard at last month's commission meeting
All right. All right. All righty, so I guess this will go on and on, but that's okay. I personally didn't say a liar. I said I didn't think he lived in the city. I was told that. I went back after the meeting and went out and researched and found out he did. He bought a house in April. He bought a house in April, so he does live in the city. I called him personally on the phone. I personally apologized to him, told him I'm sorry. You know, whether you want to take it or not, that's the story. I guess the family don't. But I will say, and I'm not going to get upset about this, and I'm going to finish up, because I have had tons and tons of emails that I can bring up here, I guess I need to, from citizens of this city that know me, have known me since for 60 years, and know that what I am is not a racist. But if you don't agree with somebody, it seems to me that if you don't agree with the comments made by this group, you're a racist. So they can have their own comments. I don't believe in it. The good Lord knows I'm not a racist. The good Lord knows. And let's tell you something. I don't bring up their kids or your kids or anybody's. But my granddaughter loves that little girl, and she still does. And she knows I'm not a racist. She knows who I like and what I love. And my little granddaughter knows until the day she knows. I talked to her. But I did apologize to Mr. Bracey. He said, well, it's too late. The letter went out. And I said, that's fine. you know? But, I did also have G send out an apology to each one of you too. I sent it out, I don't know if you got it, she was supposed to send it to you, I apologize, he was here, Bracy was here, Commissioner Bracy, I apologize to him. But I also want to know that.
Commissioner Oliver.
Huh?
My name is Commissioner Oliver.
I said Commissioner Oliver, yeah, whatever. Yeah, Commissioner Oliver. But, sorry about that. I might be a racist for saying that, I guess, I'm sorry. But I don't understand, it just keeps going on, Founder's Day, I don't know what they're gonna get about Founder's Day. Founder's Day's not there. We changed the name of that, we changed the date. But democracy works in the cities, it's what it's supposed to be. And I will never not go along with the citizens of this city that I represent. I have represented them for 34 years, contrary to what they believe, and I got plenty of emails that was sent out after the letter came out and making comments back to those people also about what they said. Hatred is not in my soul. It's never been. It won't be. You know, you can say what you want to say. Like I said, I guess if you want to tell somebody if you don't agree with you, you're racist, I guess that's what it is, but I'm not a racist. And I don't care what people say. It gets to the point, I guess I'm going to have to do a defamation suit. But the citizens of Ocoee voted me into this mayor's slot, and they're the ones I'm going to represent. I'm not going to represent. The gentleman made a comment about eating at Roadhouse. Well, I eat at Sand Lake Road, but they don't let me make no decisions about what they do over there for their development. So that's what it is. And just understand, we're all here to make it better, and that's what we're supposed to do. And I apologize again to you guys here, Commissioner Wilson, Commissioner Forster, Commissioner Oliver, and Commissioner Brinson. I went back and researched it, found out he bought a house in April. Now, I don't know that the law says you can't give addresses out if you're a senator or a representative. If they don't care for us, all our addresses are public. So I don't know what office. I know police officers, their addresses can't be said, but I don't know about the state rep and that. Is that true? I don't think it is.
There's a long list of protected addresses, elected officials or not.
That's what I said. So they made a comment about I was giving out his thing where he wouldn't be protected. Well, no, I wouldn't give out his address. I just said he didn't live in Ocoee, but he does live in Ocoee. But I was thinking about it the other day. I got 2 years and 7 months, and I'm going to do everything I can do to do what's right for the city of Ocoee that I've done for 34 years, no matter what comes about. And this stuff about keep wanting to go back and vote on something we voted on, it is, and what I got to thinking about what they said. It is not about one person. It is about all the people that was involved in that 1920 election massacre. It's not one person, it's all of them. So that's what we have to look at. Like I said, I can give all those people next week. I guess 2 weeks I'll have them call in and take up some time for me. But once again, I apologize. Apologize to the people that was here last week, people in the meeting that waited. Sorry about taking so long. But my life is going to keep going on. I've worked for 34 years in doing what we're supposed to do here. And in 1971 would have been Lester Dabbs at that school. And they had a man better for diversity than Lester Dabbs. Not a man. So I know Mr. Dabbs was there. So we're going to move forward. Like I said, I didn't want to talk to that, but I didn't know they were going to, I guess this is going to go on and on, so that's fine. I will make one more comment, then I'm going to close for the evening. In 34 years, I have never, ever put any of you that's elected, not one of you, in 34 years that are elected, have I ever posted anything that somebody put out against you on my Facebook page. Never, ever would I do that. That takes a little bit of undoing to do that, which was done. So I will tell you that you don't have to worry. No matter what's said or done, I would never put anything on there on my Facebook page to say that. But once again, I want to thank the citizens for looking after me and thinking and knowing what I am and what I do. And I am not a racist, and I don't have hatred. I have love for people, and that's the way it's been for 34 years with this city. Meeting adjourned. Hey, Scott, these are all signed.
Okay.